ruling out Ben Godfrey, Tom Davis, who had started, and Mark Gahey apparently already on his way back to Swansea. So not full strength for England. Still, though, a chance to get to the quarterfinals with an impressive performance today, pending the other result up in Ljubljana. Underway in the final group game of the European Under-21 Championship. 8 teams in Group C and D playing right now, all of them still with a chance to go through. Only Iceland has a worse chance than England, you would say, coming into it. Iceland sitting at -5 goal differential over in Group C. England need to win by 2 and hope Portugal beats Switzerland. Croatia has a number of scenarios that can see Igor Bišćan's group advance to the quarterfinals. But all of it depends on what happens between these two in Koper. With Matt Lawrence, I'm Jonathan Yardley. Glad you've joined us for this one on your Wednesday afternoon. A lot of European football coming your way on the ESPN family of networks. We got World Cup qualifying later today. England and Poland, of course, at the senior level. This is not quite Moscow 2018, but it is an important game for Croatia and England squaring off. Again, Matt, 2 years ago, these guys played a 3-3 tie in the final group game. Didn't mean anything at that point. A lot more on the line. I wouldn't think this one would be quite so open.
No, it certainly shouldn't be from England's point of view, that's for sure. They can't afford to concede any goals, and they need to score goals. They haven't managed it in the tournament so far. We alluded to it during the pre-game commentary that they've only had one shot on target in the previous 180 minutes, which is absolutely terrible, dreadful. The fact that they've been so bad going forward and pretty porous at the back. Just looking early on, Jonathan, it looks as though it is a regulation back four. Aaron's right back, Liam Kelly left back, Tankanga moving from right back to right centre half, and Ben Wilmot, the Watford player, as the left centre half. It almost looks as like a 4-2-3-1. With Skip Jones playing as the defensive midfielders, Eze playing as the 10, Gallagher on the right, Dwight McNeil on the left, and Eddie Nketiah playing as the lone frontman.
Again, there's been multiple different formations used by Eddie Boothroyd through 2 games. Had a 5 at the back or 3 at the back, depending on how you look at it, but it felt like 5 against Switzerland last Thursday. And then more traditional 4 at the back in the loss to Portugal on Sunday. Croatia also switched up formations from game 1 when they lost to Portugal. 5 at the back in that one. They go to 4 at the back, and Babets, number 3, who was only named to this team as an injury replacement, has kind of become their indispensable at defensive midfield. Now his 3rd game of the tournament, starting 2 of them. He wears number 3. Eddie Nketiah couldn't keep it with England there.
Yeah, and that's a problem. That's what England need. They need Nketiah to keep hold of the ball. He's playing as a lone frontman, so he needs to hold the ball up. He needs to keep possession of the ball for the 3 men playing in behind of him, just to get up there and develop that relationship. Yes, Nketiah was absolutely magnificent in qualifying, 13 goals, but he's really struggled in the previous 2 games here against Portugal and Switzerland.
And usually you see those scoring numbers and they're padded by big games against bad teams. And England did play Andorra in qualifying, but Andorra was actually the only team to take a result off England, a 3-3 tie. And Nketiah scored against everybody, high quality or low quality. He scored in 6 straight qualifiers at one point. So to see him go scoreless in 2, even against the uptick in competition, says a lot about what's going on behind it.
Yes, it does. And look, Nketiah and actually the qualifying group was relatively simplistic, Turkey being one of the better teams, and Nketiah scored 3 goals against them in the 2 games that England faced Turkey. So yes, he does know where the back of the net is, but if he doesn't get any service, Jonathan, it's incredibly hard for him to hit the back of the net.
Christian Bistrovic plays in Turkey, actually, on loan from CSKA Moscow. was a dangerous ball, but England are able to get it away with Curtis Jones making his first start of the tournament, and a bad giveaway there. This is Wiesinger. Didn't start the first game, did start the second. As we said, almost unchanged Croatia from the team that beat Switzerland 3-2 on Sunday. And they're not fully healthy either, by the way.
Wiesinger's a decent player as well, plies his trade for Wolfsberger in Austria. He's certainly somebody to watch for the Croatians. 6 goals in the Austrian Bundesliga so far in his 21 appearances, so 1 in 3, or 1 in 3.5 games, not bad at all, not a bad return.
Long ball almost miscontrolled back there. Vučković, the youngest Croatian player, number 22, is stepping in due to injury to Erlich, who came off about 25 minutes into Sunday's contest. So that is a point England may want to pressure, but he had enough to get through it there. We get word from Ljubljana that Portugal has already gone in front of Switzerland 1-0 early. Matt, you remember we talked in the Slovenia-Spain game last week. I said watch out for Portugal because all of the age group teams that are in this tournament, Portugal is dangerous in all of them, and they are unbeaten so far. That result, that lead for Portugal, is just fine with both Croatia and England.
Yes, it is, and obviously it favours Croatia more at the moment, with England not having had a shot in anger. Granted, we're only sort of 6 minutes into this game. Croatia, they're possessing the ball, the better of the two teams here so far. But yeah, it's no surprise for me that Portugal have taken the lead against Switzerland. Portugal are a fun team to watch, and a very deserved win against England in the last game.
So those are the live standings. If these results hold, Croatia would go through. We understand it's 6.5 minutes in, but Portugal getting that lead, very important for both teams to understand, and it should give them belief as well.
Yeah, well, you just fancy, obviously we're not watching the game, that you fancy that Portugal would just go on and probably get a second and a third, go from strength to strength. As I say, the vast array of talent in that side for Portugal. Just a quick change as well, Jonathan. I thought that Gallagher would be playing wide on the right. It looks as though Curtis Jones has been pushed up to play high on the right-hand side. I don't think that's particularly a position that favours him when he's been playing for Liverpool in place of the injured Henderson. He's been playing much more as a central midfielder. I feel he's much more dynamic, much more dangerous there. He's a little bit too isolated on that right-hand side, Curtis Jones.
You saw Nketiah with a little hip check to create some space there, clashing with Vučković.
And Vučković, one of the younger players for Croatia. Croatia, a very experienced side, but Vučković just 19 years of age. 6'2" in stature, 421 caps already. He's a good player.
Yeah, supposed to be targeted by Napoli the last transfer window, but Hajduk Split weren't ready to make that move. Jones not lacking in confidence, able to move that. Here's Dwight McNeil. Started in that wing-back role against Switzerland, gets the cross in, and it's knocked away with a sliding tackle from Vučković in front of Dominik Kotarski, making his second straight start.
Yeah, this is what Dwight McNeil is all about. He's an old-fashioned winger.
From the corner, Jones off the crossbar. England so close to an early lead.
A terrific short corner from England. You said he doesn't lack confidence, Curtis Jones. You'll be exactly right. Gets the ball out of his feet, whips it towards that far post, just ricochets off the top of the crossbar and goes behind for a goal kick to Croatia. This is a little better from England. Certainly more attacking orientated than we've seen them so far in the previous 2 games.
Jones is 20. He's a 2001 birthday. This tournament is billed as the under-21 championships. We should mention it's really under 23 championship. Players born 1998 or later are eligible, and there's a wide range of ages and how different countries approach it. You could fill a whole England 11 of age-eligible players who aren't here. They're with the senior national team, they're with their clubs, but can play at a high level. And Croatia has several who are on duty with their senior national team as well. Low ball running all the way through around the goalkeeper. Was that a hand? It's just a great block in the end in the penalty area. England miss out on another great early chance.
It's another terrific opportunity, but let's give Croatia some credit. Absolutely defending for their lives, throwing their bodies in the way of the football.
They've given that one a penalty kick to England. Aggressive over the last 2-3 minutes, and it pays off.
The referee's been absolutely surrounded here. He's not happy at all with the abuses taken from the Croatia players. Just issues a yellow card very quickly there, just to get the players away from him. The player that I said we should be watching for, Ivanušec, because he's a great player going forward. He's the one who gets booked. This is the coming together. There doesn't seem to be a great deal in it for me. In actual fact, I think Nketiah treads on the foot of the Croatian defender. I don't think that's a penalty, Jonathan. I think that's incredibly harsh.
Yeah, no VAR at this tournament that we've seen, and so you understand the Croatian frustration. Bartol Franjic is whistled for the foul. For the penalty kick, Ebere Eze, the Crystal Palace man, he's come on as a sub in both games of this tournament, going to step up to it. Dominic Kotarski, Ajax backup goalkeeper, in net. Eze from the penalty spot. There we go, they've got one. England need another, and they need some help. But boy, have they shown more attacking in these first 10 minutes than we've seen most of the tournament.
Well, they couldn't show any less attacking ability, could they, Jonathan? They've been terrible in the previous two games. You said they needed help, and they've got some help, and that's from the referee here. I don't think that's a penalty at all, but that's cool, calm, and collected from Eze. Full of confidence, the Crystal Palace player. Released by Millwall just a few years ago, and it's been a stratospheric rise since then. Applied his trade at QPR in the Championship, then had a big money move to Palace. He's been fantastic for Palace this season. That's a good finish from the penalty spot.
As a neutral, Matt, you couldn't ask for much more in the decisive games than early goals in both of them.
Exactly, this opens things up, doesn't it? The nerves will be jangling for Croatia. The Swiss team, they know they need to come back against Portugal as well. It's a fantastic last day of football in the group
England
stage.
still going forward, looking for that second one here in the first 15 minutes. It was Lloyd Kelly who had earlier delivered the terrific cross from this near left side. It was Max Aarons trying to get that one in. All of a sudden, England are flying forward. McNeil goes down, free kick coming. One-way traffic right now.
It is, the Croatian players aren't happy, but I think that's a free kick from number 2, Šverko. Simplistic decision for the referee to make. He's right there as well, he's only yards away. Dwight McNeil has been absolutely tantalising down this left-hand side. As I say, real old-fashioned winger McNeil. Likes to get to the byline and cross balls into the box.
Denmark already up 2-0 on Russia, by the way, over in Group C. So Denmark, maybe the surprise of the tournament, looking to go 3-0 in a group that includes France. Can England get the margin they need right here? Bodies flying. Comes down to Curtis Jones. Back to Skip. Headed out by Bistrovic. Everybody will reset a little bit here. That's Max Aarons, the Norwich City right back. Some big clubs sniffing around him. There's always rumors, but he's got some of the bigger names rumored to be looking at him.
Yeah, sometimes they say there's no smoke without fire. Bayern Munich have been watching Aarons for a number of months now. May only be playing in the Championship this season, but he was very, very good for Norwich last season when they got relegated from the EPL. No surprise at all that big teams are watching him. Just as we see that calm penalty from Eze, a little stutter step, watches the goalkeeper move to his left-hand side and rolls it to the goalkeeper's right. Adi Boothroyd incredibly happy that his side score their first goal of the tournament in the third game.
So, of course, they're 0-2. People expect England to go through easily. Adi Boothroyd's getting criticism. He didn't help things when he called the job utterly impossible at the press conference yesterday, referring to the fact that he never has the best age-eligible players because, of course, the priority is the full national team. Don't know that that's what anybody wanted to hear, but now he's got a 1-0 lead here early. Third finals in charge of this group for Adi Boothroyd. He took over for Gareth Southgate before the 2017 edition, where England reached the semifinals, lost to Germany on penalties. You get the picture. And then group stage exit 2 years ago, and a frustrating one.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jonathan. Nobody wants to hear those excuses. Every single side of quality, the likes of Spain, Italy, Germany, they lose players to the full national team. Yes, we know that he's struggled here, Boothroyd, with some injury and some illness, and obviously the players going up. But excuses. To only have one shot on target in 180 minutes is not good enough. You could field a bunch of League Two players and you'd expect for them to be having more than one shot on target in 2 games. Don't like to hear that from any managers, just lame excuses.
Speaking of Gareth Southgate and England, European qualifiers for the 2022 World Cup continue later today. ESPN2, 2:30 Eastern. John Champion, Taylor Twellman will have England and Poland from Wembley Stadium. Of course, no Robert Lewandowski for Poland. His injury picked up in this crowded international window. England-Poland senior national team, 2:30 Eastern, also streaming live on the ESPN app. Three games in 8 days for most of these teams, senior and under 23, as it were, at this under 21 championship. It's the only tournament I've ever seen where they name it based on the age you are at the start of the tournament, not the finish.
Yeah, it is very strange to see, isn't it, Jonathan? So many 22, 23-year-old players in an under-21 tournament.
These are not, however, Olympic qualifiers. The tournament 2 years ago served as the Olympic qualifiers. Obviously, neither of these teams in the running for that.
Very brave of you to mention Olympic qualifiers, Jonathan.
Well, we know of another country that's not in the running for that.
Yes, we do.
And it was
only
ugly.
too aware.
For the uninitiated, the United States lost to Honduras in their decisive Olympic qualifier. So Honduras and Mexico, as has been the case most of the time recently, will be the CONCACAF representatives should the Olympic tournament go ahead, and we certainly hope that it does. On the men's side, on the women's side, the U.S. did not have any trouble. Again, not breaking news here. '19th minute, England in front. That throw-in never really got within 5 yards of the field. England in front on Ebere Eze's penalty kick in the 12th minute. A penalty we thought was a generous award.
We've commented previously, haven't we, Jonathan, that it's good really to not have VAR. There's no breaks in the game, but there the Croatians would have been desperate for VAR to be there.
Who said it was good? I think it's a travesty. They're playing major international games determining who goes to the World Cup, and for these guys, who goes to the quarterfinals of the Continental Championship. You have the technology for instant replay and you're not using it? Really? I'm not up for it.
No, look, I'm a massive... I like VAR, I really do, but it's just been so many problems with it. I know it has teething issues. It's still relatively in its infancy stage. I know it needs to grow the same as anything does, but certainly right here in this tournament, I like the fact in a way that we're reliant on the assistant referees and the referees. We're not seeing any breaks, refs going over to the sideline. But yeah, look, I do agree that if VAR had been implemented there, I don't think that would have been a penalty.
It's been an interesting tournament because, again, you're always dealing with the tug of war between the senior national team and the age group and who's available. I mean, Spain, you saw Spain's senior team was bailed out by 2 players who could have been here, Ferran Torres and Dani Olmo, and Spain's still able to advance. Netherlands and Germany kind of snuck through on goal differential. They were all tied with Romania. But so far, the big names have gotten through. Again, the Netherlands, Germany, Spain, and Italy are exactly who you would have picked from those groups to advance. And it could still be that way. If France and Denmark can go through, if England and Portugal go through, maybe those are the 8 you would have picked anyway. But it has not been as simple as that.
No, it hasn't. In Group C and D that we see being played today, that's where the problems have arisen for the so-called bigger sides. As you say, relatively simplistic for Spain, Italy, Germany, and the Netherlands to qualify. I can't wait for the knockout stages, Jonathan, when they come later on in the year, in the back end of May, beginning of June. It's huge matchups, and it'll be so interesting. I think you have the possibility to change squads as well, don't you, Jonathan, to a certain extent? So
yep.
Be interesting to see who is selected for those sides, for the likes of Spain and Italy, as you say.
May 31st, all 4 quarterfinals will be played, 2 in Hungary, 2 in Slovenia. Semifinals June 3rd, and the final June 6th. We'll have games on all 3 days for you on the ESPN family of networks. Times and matchups still to be determined, and channels. But every game in the tournament available via the ESPN app. England momentum seems to have stalled for the moment. Croatia haven't created much, however, as they have gained a little bit more of the ball.
Yeah, I agree. The forward momentum for England has definitely waned. I think Croatia are slowly growing into this game. I think they've dealt with the upset of that penalty decision and subsequent goal very, very well. They could easily have let their heads drop, but they haven't. Granted, they haven't created a great deal, but they're starting to possess the ball a little bit better. And England haven't troubled them at all in the last 5-10 minutes.
This is Ben Wilmot, his first game of the tournament. Watford center back. Played forward by Kelly. Couple of runners. Katarski hesitated, but gets there ahead of Eddie Nketiah.
He does well, the Croatia goalkeeper, Katarski, coming off his line. Read the situation well. I think they're setting up very solidly, Croatia, when they're not in possession of the ball. They were troubled early on by England, but they haven't been since then. They're setting up at a 4-5-1 when out of possession of the ball. Being very difficult to break down.
This is Babets in the midfield. Hervoje Babets. I got it right the second time. Goritza player. First call up above the under-18 level. Now this is a left-footed right back. If you think that Marin Šverko, number 2, looks uncomfortable on the right, he spends almost all his time on the left. But with Croatia, that's with his club team Saarbrücken in Germany. With Croatia, plays on the right. And it gives you a very different look. You're kind of used to the occasional right-footed player at left back.
Yeah, it just feels incredibly unnatural. As a right-footed player, I played left back a number of times, and you always just tend to drift in field onto your favoured right foot, as Šverko's tending to do. He's doing the opposite.
Oliver Skip turned his back there, but managed to get the ball. Sverko. Cross read well and blocked by Dwight McNeil. He was not fooled.
Yeah, no surprise. Sverko's coming back onto his left foot to try and whip in an in-swinging cross. This is much better from Croatia. Looking much more cohesive going forward now. And Sverko's really progressing up the field from that right-back berth.
If you're wondering who goes through if these scores hold right now, I believe it's rock, paper, scissors. They all meet in the middle between Ljubljana and Koper and figure it out. No, the actual tiebreakers go head-to-head between the tied teams. And so right now you would have 3 teams tied at 1 and 2, England, Croatia, and Switzerland. They would have all been 1 and 1 against each other and lost to Portugal. Then the tiebreaker would be goal differential in the games played head-to-head, which I believe right now is at 0, and then it gets complicated. So we're going to wait and see what the next goal is and how that changes things. But I believe at the moment Croatia would still get through, because again we said England need to win by 2, and so England, on the basis of having fewer goals scored, that was their first of the tournament, whereas Croatia have 3, would be out.
Yeah, that's correct, Jonathan. Croatia go through if the scores remain the same in both sets of games. Croatia go through as they have the better head-to-head with Switzerland, and both Croatia and Switzerland have a -1 goal difference. England have a -2 goal difference now. So yeah, Croatia go through, which is why they're happy to be rigid at the back, play the 4-5-1 formation when England have got the ball, and be very resolute, hard to break down. England are the team who need the goal. Croatia are happy the way things stand right now.
France are up on Iceland now over in Group C. So Denmark and France look on course. Things can change, of course, but Denmark leading Russia 2-0. Russia was really the danger team that could keep France out. And Iceland now at -6, not likely to come back in that one. This is Dario Špikić. Twists and turns. Can't find anybody in Croatian colors. Wow, that was risky and fortunate. Conor Gallagher almost gave that away.
Yeah, that's been a problem for England in this tournament, giving the ball away, playing out of the back. It's a little bit of
Dušec, by the way, is on a yellow card. So whether if that was called an intentional, a flagrantly intentional handball, or if he had mouthed off about it, he would be running a pretty big risk. Ooh, that's mishit by Kelly. England do get it clear. Bistrovic fouled Conor Gallagher, and it'll be an England free kick. And some serious protests. I don't know what language they're speaking. German or English would be the best bet, but Christian Bistrovic was not happy.
No, and it's a free kick. There's no 2 ways about it. Can't reprimand the referee too much. The referee is the one in charge. Not too difficult for the referee just to brandage a yellow card there if he's approached with too much venom. I think they've slowly got more and more upset with the referee, haven't they, the Croatians, and almost rightly so after that poor penalty decision in the opening few minutes.
Little venom in that as Bistrovic was pumped up from his encounter with the referee. First Croatian shot, never even got to the penalty area. I am thinking, Matt, about instituting a yellow-red card policy in the household. 5-year-old says the wrong thing, boom, yellow card.
It'll be interesting to see how that works, Jonathan. Let me know.
Yeah.
I've been through that, and I can certainly attest to the fact that the yellow and red card system doesn't work.
I was about to say, parents everywhere just shake their heads. 30th minute, England leads on Ebere Eze's penalty kick back in the 12th minute. It would not be enough, though. England need to win by 2 to advance. The other game, Portugal still leading Switzerland 1-0. Right now, these results would take Croatia through, but obviously a long way to go. Interesting window for the Croatian senior national team, too. They rather labored to get past Malta yesterday in World Cup qualifying. This is Curtis Jones. He's popped up all over that attacking half. I don't think either team's very happy with Harm Osmers. And I don't know whose voice that was. My friend, what are you doing? You get some great audio from these games with no fans.
It is, and the referee, as you say, certainly not making friends there on the touchline.
Croatia growing in confidence in this part of the field. Advancing is Moro. Playing it low. Oh, skied over the top by Spikic. Best chance of the game for Croatia. That could have tied it.
And should have tied it. Yes, on his unfavoured left foot, but should do better. It's a terrific pullback from Moro. Terrible marking from England in that penalty area. Just bobbling into him. Doesn't get a full side foot on it, hits more of his shin pad, the side of his calf than his boot. And Igor Bišćan, the Croatian under-21 head coach, holds his head in his hands. Not a great finish at all from Spikic. For me, just lacked a little bit of belief there with his weaker left foot, Spikic. You can see him here in our picture, the bottom right-hand side, clasping his face with his hands. Just need more belief as a player. Yes, it's on your weaker foot. Get your head over the ball, get a broad surface on the ball and strike it goalward. As I say, the bobble didn't make it too easy, but he should do better. Has to hit the target there. Force Ramsdale to make a save bare minimum.
And Kedia fought to win that ball, has Eze ahead of him. Ebere Eze. Tumbles down easily, and this time, nothing doing.
Yeah, I think that was more in hope than actual belief from Eze. Nothing in that for me. We do know that he loves to ghost past players. We've seen him do it in the Premier League on numerous occasions for Palace this season.
Bobbit's wide on the left for Bradaric. One of their more experienced players, the left back, Domagoj Bradaric. Neat movement here. Wiesinger tried to return the pass, and England alert to it with Tanganga and Wilmot at the back.
Certainly the last 10 or 15 minutes, Jonathan, Croatia have been the better side, slowly growing into this game and starting to create chances. This back four of England hasn't played together, certainly not in this tournament. It's looking like that at the moment, too many gaps in it.
It really is kind of a hodgepodge of age groups for England, which they've had so much success with at the international level, winning the under-17 World Cup a few years back, the under-19 European Championship. But Tanganga never played with this group in qualifying. Wilmot only played 2 qualifiers. And as we said, very different back line from what we've seen earlier in the tournament.
Yeah, I mentioned it before the game. It's basically all 4 have changed. This is the non-penalty decision from the referee. I don't think there's a great deal in this. Eze's never going to get on the end of the ball either. That's the correct decision this time from the referee.
That turns over. Ivanušić lets it go low, spilled, but finally Aaron Ramsdale able to hang on.
Yeah, Ivanushets is a quality player. He doesn't need asking twice. It's a great little fake, then takes the ball on his weaker left foot, but it's a good strike. Quite often likes to play as a left winger, cutting in onto his right foot. Here we see him more central. Ramsdale just about gathers at the second attempt. I think for me, Croatia need to get Ivanushets on the ball a little more, the number 7. See him here in that left wing position, cutting in onto the right-hand side, but he does tend to find himself in more central positions as well. One thing we do know is he doesn't like to track back.
Spikic doing the defensive work, able to knock that one to halfway. Now Saturday, a doubleheader coming your way over on ESPN2. First at noon, RB Leipzig looking to close the gap to only a point with Bayern Munich in the Bundesliga. That's from Red Bull Arena in Leipzig. And then at 2:30 Eastern, as this one turns over, chance for Croatia. What a stop by Ramsdale, diving to his right to keep England in the tournament, maybe. Ivanushets couldn't convert.
Most unlike him as well. Ivanushets will be devastated he didn't score there. Again, though, England, the masters of their own downfall, gifting the ball to the opposition in their own defensive third. It's been a problem.
England had all that momentum back at the 15-minute mark, and it has gone south.
It's almost like they've gasped a sigh of relief that they've actually managed to score, but then they've sat back, they're on the back foot. Croatia very much in the ascendancy right now, the better team. They're opening up England almost at will at the moment. Ivanushets at the heart of absolutely everything.
First to that was Wiesinger. Mistouched by Ivanushets. Eze trying to take advantage on the run. Curtis Jones. Drove it low, but nobody there. And he didn't put it close enough to the target either.
Yeah, I think that was a shot from Curtis Jones. It's great play by Eze. Jones finds himself on the left-hand side. Cuts back very well onto the left foot, but just snatches at the strike. You can see that hits the inside of his left foot and goes a long way wide of that far post. That was definitely a shot from Curtis Jones. Too much power on it for it to be a cross.
He's got some of the drive, some of the urgency that they haven't had in midfield.
Yeah, and Eze as well, when he gets on the ball, the third in this position, when he does ghost past players. He's deceptively quick as well, Eze.
And Kedia called for that. McNeil trying to find him, but it comes off of a Croatian defender last for an England corner. Ivanushets still thinking about this chance.
Yeah, it's Conor Gallagher getting beaten, all ends up. Had no idea, didn't have a picture in his head, didn't know who was around him. Played himself into danger. Yes, a good save from Ramsdale going down to his right-hand side. But Ivanushets would expect to score from there, a player of his quality. A player who's played in Zagreb his whole life. Moving to Dinamo Zagreb from Lokomotiva Zagreb.
That's a foul on England coming out. Wouldn't that have been the picture of the tournament? 2 England players on the ground in anguish as Croatia goes ahead to score, but Aaron Ramsdale bailed everybody out.
Yeah, he did. He's had a lot of practice, Aaron Ramsdale, with Sheffield United all season. Been conceding absolutely hatfuls of goals, Sheffield United. And that was a really good save from Ramsdale. We see this clash here between the two players. I think there's
Great header won by Kelly.
It really was at the back post. I don't think there's any intent there. Both players suffered head injuries. Let's hope they're both all right. Croatia defender probably looks as though he may have come off the worst.
Croatia have been dealing with injuries throughout the team, but especially at center back. They had to sub out both center backs against Switzerland. Usually you go to a tournament, you don't want to use more than 3 center backs. They've definitely gotten to number 4.
This is that effort. The more times you see it, the more blatantly apparent it is that even Ušec should do better. The ball's on his right foot. He's favoured his stronger foot. Just didn't get enough power behind it. He tried to give Ramsdale the eyes and send him the wrong way, but Ramsdale was fully aware of what was going on, and it was a relatively comfortable save.
It's Vušković, who himself is in for Martin Erlich. Shaken up there as we near the end of the first half. England still leading 1-0. But again, you've kind of seen them revert to form over the latter portion of the first half.
Yeah, it's good to see that Vušković looks as though he's okay, and Ketio will be, I'm sure. I know you have to be very, very careful with these head injuries. Looked relatively innocuous when I first saw it, but Vušković certainly felt it. Let's hope they're both okay. Just a few moments until half-time. Looks as though they're both going to come on the field of play.
And there are proposals in place, some that have been passed to be used on a trial basis to give teams the opportunity to make temporary subs for potentially concussed players to deal with head injuries a little bit better. And we continue to hope progress is made on that front.
Certainly the one major part of the game where progress has to be made, Jonathan. We're reading so much recently about older players all over the world suffering dementia at a much earlier stage, the onset of Alzheimer's as well, so we do have to be very, very careful of these concussions and head injuries as a whole.
How does it make you feel as a former player when this all comes out now? I mean, how much do you think back, man, what was I doing? Are you paranoid about any memory loss? You're like, oh, what if it's this? How does it affect you now?
It's certainly something you think about, and the game that I played, in the mid-90s and early 2000s, and in the championship in England, there was an awful lot of heading going on. We practiced it an awful lot. Wasn't as technically good as we're seeing today. The weight of the ball has changed as well, so yes, it's certainly something you think about. And in terms of concussions, yes, I suffered many. In terms of memory loss, yes, I suffer from memory losses at times as well. But I think, don't we all at times suffer memory losses? But it is something that's in the back of your head that you think about all the time, especially now that it's really come to the fore in the game of soccer.
I think you and I were playing in a game one time, and I went up for a header, and I wasn't feeling great about it, and I was kind of like, nope, you know what, this is rec league, I'm just going to let it go.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Exactly, and that's the thing which you can do in the rec league, and which we're trying to get into in the professional game as well, that you should treat it not as a rec league game, obviously, but you should treat it the same. If it's a head injury, it doesn't matter that this is your sport, this is your profession. You have to protect your head for the future. You're going to finish the game of football at 35, 36. You've got another, hopefully, 40, 50 years ahead of yourself. You don't want to be getting onset dementia and things like that in your mid-40s, early 50s. But again, try telling me that as a player, and you'd have had to drag me off the field of play. I would have needed a doctor's certificate to not go out there.
I was about to say, neither one of these teams has players thinking about that right now, even Nketiah and Vušković, who are thankfully back on the field. Now, Lloyd Kelly's arm came up there, and he's going to get a yellow card right here at the end of the first half.
Just saw the assistant referee indicating that it was more of a forearm rather than an elbow. I think there's a great deal in that whatsoever. I think Kelly's just got to the ball first. It's a definite accidental clash. It's a tough yellow card for Kelly to pick up. Has to be careful now.
You know, we will have some stoppage time in this first half as Croatia line up a free kick, and this could really change things heading into halftime. Three minutes, the signal from the fourth official. We are into that. Here's Nicola Moro. Neat pass inside. Bistrovic couldn't hold it. Maybe England can counter, and that's a bad pass given away. And you see Gallagher with his head in his hands.
Yeah, not the first time he's given the ball away, is it? He's the one who supplied Ivanušić with the opportunity just moments ago, or minutes ago.
And again, it was a surprise to us, but Tom Davis, Ben Godfrey ruled out due to reportedly late fitness tests. Tom Davis had started both games through the middle for England. And right now it feels like England is just trying to get to halftime at 1-0 as Croatia knocks on the door.
In England we see marking zonally as well. I'm not always a big proponent, a big fan of marking zonally. Let's see what Croatia can do from this attacking corner.
Bistrovic connected with Wiesinger, but wasn't able to get over it.
I think he'll be a little unhappy with that, Wiesinger. Wasn't particularly tightly marked. He met the ball well at the near post. Yes, I think he was maybe just a yard in front of the near post, so he had to angle the header goalward, but just got too much on it. Ramsdale was very, very happy to see that one go over his crossbar.
At halftime, we'll show you other goals from today's action. Group C and Group D. 4 games going simultaneously. France and Denmark looking good. Portugal looking good. And that just leaves likely the winner of this game. But again, England need to win it comfortably, need to win it by 2 goals. Great run by Bistrovic. Nobody from Croatia could find him. Goal kick, the decision, and England are relieved. And wow, Bradaric really upset. Going to pick up a yellow card for really no reason.
Certainly got a point, that's for sure, Jonathan, but again, no point in picking up needless yellow cards. Yellow card for...
He was saying handball, yeah?
Yeah, it certainly, well, it was certainly a corner kick at minimum. Would have been tough to give a yellow card.
Halftime in Koper, and England are halfway there. Ebere Eze's 12th minute penalty kick has England in front, but they need to win by 2 and continue to get help from Portugal. Could be a fascinating second half set up for us. England and Croatia, 1-0 England at halftime. Early chance for Curtis Jones off the crossbar. England were up for this match.
Yeah, they were. They started incredibly well. It's a decent strike from Jones, always just going over the crossbar. But England won the front foot in the opening 10-15 minutes.
This is the key play in the game. This is called a penalty. Dario Franjic maybe got a piece of Eddie Nketiah, maybe?
I think Nketiah is the one that instigates the contact, but look, take nothing away from Eze. Cool, calm and collected from the penalty spot, and Boothwood enjoyed that.
England need to win by 2, though, and Croatia really started to come into the game more, create chances like this one, skied by Špikic.
He has to do better. He really does. Just lacking in confidence. You just sense it. You see him there. He's just leaning back. The ball's always going to go upwards if you're leaning back. And Conor Gallagher, he had a horror show in the last 10-15 minutes. Good save from Ramsdale, but a dreadful finish, in my opinion, from Ivanušić.
Here are the numbers from the first half. Slight edge to England in terms of possession. Again, the last 20 minutes, it was almost all Croatia's way. A couple yellow cards handled out as well, but pretty evenly matched teams so far. England and Croatia, a lot to play. right here, England's under 21s, that includes players as old as 23, need to win by 2 to have a chance to advance from Group D in the European Under 21 Championship and reach the quarterfinals that start May 31st. With Matt Lawrence, I'm Jonathan Yardley, watching this with you from Koper, Slovenia. Hungary and Slovenia co-hosting this tournament, both already eliminated. And we will keep an eye out for changes at the half. Not seeing any just yet, though. England got the early goal from Ebere Eze via the penalty spot. They need another, though, as we start the second half. England 1, Croatia 0. The winner of this one has a good chance to advance. Croatia can advance even with a narrow loss. We'll keep you up to date on all the scenarios as we go.
Certainly from Croatia's point of view, they're going to be hoping that they start this second half the same as they finished the first. Certainly the last 20-25 minutes, they were the superior team. England, on the other hand, will hope they start the second half like they started the first half, Jonathan. They started on the front foot. They got a lot of attacking bodies forward, but even still only 1 shot on target for England in that first half. 2 shots on target in 2.5 games of football.
That's not going to do a whole lot for you. To state the obvious, England not at full strength. They have 5 blank spots on your roster sheet. The players they did not roster today. Callum Hudson-Odoi hurt. Emil Smith-Rowe hurt. Mark Gahey headed back to Swansea apparently. Ben Godfrey, Tom Davis. Again, reportedly, this is just sources that we're seeing coming out right around lineup time. Failed fitness test today. Not even named to the bench. Early free kick chance, McNeil. Back to Curtis Jones on the near side. Even he looks a little tentative and not willing to go forward. I guess waiting for England to get their shape back as we start this second half.
Yeah, that's unusual for Curtis Jones. He normally likes to play the ball forward. He's very rarely somebody who goes sideways or backwards. But it may be only an under-21 competition, Jonathan. But these players will be feeling the pressure. To fail to get through to the knockout stages, I think it will be the 5th time in the last 6 competitions for England under-21s that they've got knocked out of the group stages. Just not good enough for England. So inevitable that the players are going to be feeling that pressure.
Here's Curtis Jones going forward, tripped up by Franic, and instead it's a yellow for diving for Jones.
He did hold his hand up straight away, but it is a dive, it is simulation nevertheless. Curtis Jones was trying to implore to the referee that he didn't quite mean it, but he did. And that is a yellow card. He was anticipating the contact, there was absolutely nothing there. Franic just pulled his left leg away. Jones anticipated the contact and fell over.
Tanganga out of the back, but it's won back by Bobets in the middle of that Croatian 3-man midfield. We'll reset the teams for you shortly. There's a 4-1-4-1 of sorts for Croatia, 4-2-3-1 of sorts for England. Loose touch there, and Nketiah almost got to Katarski. He's been shaky a couple of times with his feet. And that is a handball against Franic, who was judged the guilty party on the first half penalty. Dangerous free kick coming for England, who, as Matt pointed out, are still looking for their 3rd shot on goal of the entire tournament.
We know they have the ability from this range, whether it's McNeil with his left foot, or Eze with his right foot.
Aarons to the right of your screen, now just out of the picture. Now gets covered up. 50th minute. Eze denied by Kotarski at full stretch as he got around the wall.
It's a good save by Kotarski, but I don't think the wall was in a great position. I bet my mortgage on that the ball was going to go round the left-hand side of the wall from the goalkeeper's perspective and go towards that near post.
Slight touch from Kotarski as that corner came fizzing through. Now Jones goes to work, loves these situations. Back door, headed high. McNeil was lurking. Tanganga saying, why didn't you call me off?
The lack of communication there is just so apparent. The ball is just going to fall perfectly for McNeil, and he's going to do nothing but nod it home. This is the strike from Eze. It's far too easily for him to just curl the ball around the wall. It's a porous wall. It's not positioned very well, but a good save by Kotarski.
Here we go back to that long touch by the aforementioned Kotarski, who wasn't the starter at the beginning of the tournament. Adrian Schemper started their opener against Portugal. He was replaced, also has a bit of a hand injury, but Igor Bišćan saying it was his decision. And Kotarski just found out Saturday night before the Sunday game against Switzerland that he would be in there. Had some nervous moments, but also some big ones.
That seems to be how he plays, doesn't it, Jonathan? He offered up an opportunity there and then made a great save, diving to his left from the free kick.
Feast or famine goalkeepers make it on highlight reels, but they rarely lift trophies, should we say. That's scooped up by Ramsdale. He's in goal for England. Max Aarons, Japhet Tanganga, Ben Wilmot, and Lloyd Kelly, the back four. Conor Gallagher and Oliver Skip, the central midfielders. Curtis Jones, Ebere Eze, and Dwight McNeil, the attacking midfielders. And Eddie Nketiah up front for the manager, Adi Boothroyd. A lot of flexibility with those attacking players, as you saw Eze popping up on the left sideline. Gallagher able to win that back for England. Getting a chance to recover from what was a rough last 10 minutes of the first half. Second ball, Aarons. Now Jones. He knew he wanted to hit that, took a wicked deflection, and will be a corner.
Yeah, not lacking in confidence, Curtis Jones. We've mentioned it a few times, whether it's with his right or his left. Cuts inside onto his weaker left foot and tries to curl it into that far post, but a good block. Another corner to England. Let's hope there's a little bit more communication from England's point of view.
Dwight McNeil, 21-year-old, plays at Burnley. Kotarski might have caught that, punches away instead. Mishit by Kelly. And it'll be a throw-in, evidently, in that corner. Igor Bišćan is now 42. Of course, 5 years with Liverpool, including the 2005 Champions League run. Began and ended his career with Dinamo in Croatia, which has had about half of the team on its roster at some point. Quite a collision there. It'll be a Croatian free kick once everybody's recovered. It was a Wiesinger sandwich. That's broken up and turns right onto the England foot. Eddie Nketiah, their best goal scorer, hit it right to Kotarski. What a missed chance.
He's hardly been in the game this afternoon. Nketiah, it's a great block from Oliver Skip. A good ball laid into the path of Nketiah by Eze. He tries to feed the ball into that far corner, but gets it all wrong. Just passes the ball back to the goalkeeper almost. Nketiah hasn't quite found the form that he had in the qualifying stages. 13 goals in 10 games in qualifying. His first shot on target in the 3 games so far in the group stages. No goals to his name.
And as we've said, a lot of that's due to the support around him, but that one's on him.
That is definitely on him, but he's hardly been in the game. It makes it a lot more difficult when you've not been engaged in the game. But even still, devastated with that finish.
A lot of yelling about that challenge. Harm Osmers, the German official, didn't see anything wrong with it. Schwerko trying to play it in with his right. Kelly and McNeil dealt with it. Gallagher trying to find Nketiah, just out of his reach.
Just heard Eddie Boothroyd shouting out there, take care with that pass. No surprise that he's aiming that statement at Gallagher. Gallagher's given the ball away a number of times in the last 15 minutes. Either side of half-time as well. He's the player who offered up the chance to Ivanushets as well. The back end of that first half.
Well, it's easy to say from the comfort of your home office, but if you're going to miss with that pass, you'd rather miss on the playing field to give your team a chance to come up with the ball than to curl it out of play. Here is Eze. That got caught off his stud. Didn't get the touch he wanted. Vuskovic gives it right back to England, though. A lot of air under that. Jones attacks it and is whistled for the foul. Give us a chance to reset Croatia for you. Dominik Kotarski, the goalkeeper, who you've already seen a lot of in this second half. There's a little bit pushing and shoving. Marin Schwerko, the right back. Mario Vuskovic, Bartol Franjic, the center backs. Domagoj Bradaric, the left back. Rvoje Babec, the holding mid. Christian Bistrovic and Nikola Moro are the center mids. Dario Špikic on the right. Luka Ivanushets on the left. And Dario Wiesinger up front for Igor Biscan. '58th minute, England need to win by 2 to have a chance to advance out of Group D, even with a 1-2 record. Croatia would go through if these scores held, but by the hair on their chinny chin chin. Neat footwork by Špikic. Now Moro wearing the captain's armband. And Bradaric. Aarons hard into the tackle to win it for England. Very well done. And Nketiah gives it right back.
That sums up Nketiah's tournament right there in one instance. Tries to keep the ball and ends up kicking the ball off the pitch. I've said it a couple of times, Jonathan, I know you did. Yes, he has lacked the service, but he hasn't managed to work himself into either of these 3 games. Doesn't even look at the same player that scored 13 in 10 qualifying games.
Aarons did show us right there just why he's so highly rated at right back. Didn't fall for any of the fakes and then just pounced on the ball when Bradaric offered too much of it.
Yeah, he's a very good one-on-one defender. Aarons right up there with Aaron Wan-Bissaka of Manchester United for right backs in England, that's for certain, in terms of one-on-one defensive play. He's got a good low centre of gravity, Aarons, and he loves to progress forward, as we're seeing here.
And Nketiah playing provider for Gallagher, cutting it back. No trailer arriving at the right angle to pick up that one, but it stays with England via skip. Aarons again, that was dangerous, and Nketiah did turn it on target, but didn't really threaten Kotarski. More shots on goal in this half, though, than in the first 5 halves of the tournament combined.
And this is what Aaron's all about as well. Gets himself half a yard of space, crosses it on the inside of the defensive player. On this occasion, Bodaric, the left back. But again, a tame effort from Nketiah.
Kelly and Spikic, another run in. See Curtis Jones gesticulating wildly to his teammates to come press with him. Wow. Took about 5 seconds to get that foul call. Conor Gallagher, part of that team that won the 2017 Under-17 World Cup. 7 of them on this roster. But not very many healthy enough to play today.
I love how Curtis Jones took the ball there. He's got such an awareness of what's going on around him.
Cut back from Aarons. Cross was headed clear. Another dangerous free kick coming.
Yeah, high foot here from Spikic. Again, there's no intent there. I think it's quite a weak yellow card, but in the modern game you can't do that. You can't raise your foot. The studs were showing slightly. Certainly no intent, no malice from Spikic.
All right, so the last wall we thought was not set up well. If you're England, can you take advantage of that now on another free kick chance? It's only 4 in it again, although this one is a little farther out.
Yeah, slightly more angled, another yard or 2 further out.
McNeil, the left footer. Wow. Rang the outside of the post.
That is certainly the quality that McNeil has and that he's displayed in Burnley's first team over the last couple of seasons in the EPL. Kotarski was grasping at thin air there. Very unfortunate for McNeil, but didn't force the goalkeeper into a save. Yes, it looks good, but the shot's not on target at the end of the day.
Does he need another man outside the post on both of these walls?
I think so. I really do.
Yeah.
I would be having, if look, I wasn't a goalkeeper in my day, but I'd definitely be having 5 men in the wall, especially when you know you've got players of the ability of Eze and McNeil who can strike such good free kicks. This is quite.
Ganga, yeah, he mistimed the jump and then kind of reached out to grab Wiesinger.
Exactly, no malice, but just incredibly clumsy and a definite free kick.
David Cholina, another injury replacement, gonna come on for Spikic here.
Yeah, he's just picked up the yellow card, Spikic as well. No surprise to be seeing removed from the action.
Plays for Hajduk Split, and we'll see Hrvoje Babets removed as well, replaced by Mihail Japer, who's come on as a sub in both games, now all 3 games. So you get 5 subs still due to the compressed window of everything this season. So 2 made, 3 remaining for Croatia. Well, you may have gotten the impression from Aaron Ramsdale there that he was not happy with his wall's construction and willingness to listen to him. Bistrovic palmed away with A couple of gloved hands by Ramsdale.
I think Ramsdale's still chuntering about the wall, isn't it? It almost looked as though the ball went through the wall. It's a relatively simplistic save for Ramsdale. He did well. It just skipped up in front of him, but he beat it away with both hands.
This stadium, one of the smaller ones in the tournament, the modern capacity is 4,000. Koper is one of the main ports for Slovenia on the coast between Italy and Croatia. So you can just imagine the Croatian support you would be seeing if fans were permitted and able. The record attendance in this stadium was actually for a Bryan Adams concert, I believe. So no changes yet for England. Again, they only have 5 field players available off the bench. 2 made by Croatia, 66th minute. What have you seen from England in this second half, Matt, as they chase? Yes, they're leading the game, but they need another goal. Urgent enough for you?
I think at the moment it is. They don't need to really flood numbers forward and risk getting caught on the counter-attack. There needs to be a certain amount of patience. There's still 25 minutes remaining of normal time and a couple of additional minutes, obviously, for the substitutions and any injuries we have. I thought the latter stages of the first half, England were a little lacklustre, relatively poor, but they've been more at the races in this second half. For me, what they're lacking is a centre forward. Nketiah, yes, as I said, he scored lots of goals in qualifying, but certainly isn't prolific for his club side. Wasn't prolific when he was out on loan at Leeds, isn't prolific for Arsenal.
Portugal have been prolific. They're up 3-0 now on Switzerland. That goal difference doesn't matter, by the way, because the tiebreakers would only come down to goal differential in games between the tied teams. So that scoreline doesn't matter. It's just the result, and Portugal look comfortably on their way to a win. That would open up the door for either of these teams. Croatia, if the goal difference remains 1 or less, obviously 0, or if it turned around to a Croatian win. England, if they can get a second.
Just see it, and I think it shows that this English defence haven't played together a great deal. Tanganga there just swung at the ball with nobody around him with his left foot. He was lucky that the ball went to his central defensive partner in Wilmot. The cohesion, the lack of communication is just dreadful from England defensively wise. This is that save, sort of a wall and then another man just to the right of it. Far too much of a gap. It's a good save from Ramsdale in the end.
We talked about from the England perspective, Matt. How about from the Croatian perspective? How deep do you drop protecting a 1-0 deficit if it gets you through?
I think they've done well so far. They haven't dropped too deep, but as the minutes tick by and it's 1-0, just psychologically, it's just a human emotion that you get a bit scared, a bit worried, and you try and protect that lead. And I think it's just an almost automatic reaction that you drop back and try and protect or defend the edge of your penalty area. That's what they can't let happen. And head coach Igor Bišćan will be desperate to just keep them as high up the pitch as possible.
Even though they're not actually leading, but mentally knowing that they're going through at this point is still enough.
Exactly, it's a winning position for them. A little bit of a paradox as they're losing the game, but it's a winning position right now for Croatia.
We'll see if Franjic, the center back, stays on the field. He's been subbed out in the 75th minute of each of the first 2 games. They're missing Lovro Majer, one of their great promising players for the future, they hope, even though he's one of the older players at 23 due to injury. And we told you the regular starting center back Martin Erlich also out, banged up.
And I was hoping we got to see Lovro Majer. Jonathan, you were kind enough to send me a video last night of some highlights of Majer. wonderful talent, somebody who's been compared, obviously, as he's Croatian, to Luka Modric. Meyer himself said he plays in a very similar vein to Mesut Ozil. I'm assuming he means not the Mesut Ozil that was at Arsenal, the other Mesut Ozil.
McNeil chance to deliver, waiting for some numbers, and it's deflected out for a corner. It's almost unfortunate that you have to get a label of someone from your country or some type of player. The next so-and-so, you just be your own guy. Eze scored the goal that has England in front. He delivers the corner. Gallagher, clumsy, but the advantage played. Break for Croatia. 2-on-1. Ivanušić feeds Moro. Well wide of the target. It's a big let-off for England.
A massive let-off, and that's terrible from England. In terms of how they're setting up, there's a lot of questions being asked now. How from your own attacking corner do you end up defending 2 against 1? Oh, sorry, 1 against 2 as it was. You have to leave 2 back to defend against 1, but they didn't. They got hit on the counter. This is no surprise to me that Nketiah is being removed from the field of play, Jonathan.
Ryan Brewster takes over. He's also struggled to find his form with this one, and Conor Gallagher comes off to be replaced by Todd Cantwell, who was added only after Mason Greenwood withdrew due to injury. Cantwell, the Norwich midfielder, first appearance of the tournament. He did play in 3 qualifiers, and he scored in 3 of his last 8 games for Norwich, so they'd like to bring a little bit of that energy.
Yes, they would. And that word you used there, energy, he has bundles of energy. Todd Cantwell gets up and down the field. It's exactly what England need right now. Has a real eye for goal as well. You mentioned he got those 3 goals, or played in 3 games in qualifying rather. Got some goals recently for Norwich as well. And Ryan Brewster, it'll be interesting to see what he does in the 20 minutes remaining. Obviously 18 minutes of normal time, there'll be a couple of additional minutes. Brewster's really struggled this season after a massive money move to Sheffield United, something like £25 million Sheffield United paid for the Liverpool youngster. Been incredibly unsuccessful at Sheffield United.
Yeah, I remember seeing both Brewster and Jones play at Yankee Stadium in one of those preseason friendlies, Liverpool against Sporting, and Brewster was one of the hot names of the moment. As you said, that move just hasn't worked out.
Yeah, look again, you talk about centre forwards, and Nketiah hasn't had a great deal of service in the 3 games of this tournament, which is why he's been taken out. And also Ryan Brewster certainly hasn't started that many games for Sheffield United, but Sheffield United have been lacklustre, poor, woeful, dire, whatever the word you want to use. They're virtually already relegated from the Premier League. And he hasn't seen a lot of action, certainly. They don't have the ball in the attacking third a great deal, Sheffield United. They certainly haven't this season.
Right off the bat, it is Brewster, blocked by Franjic, plays it across again. Driven low and into the corner like a bullet. Curtis Jones, and England could get through with 1 win from 3. What a hit!
Well, and it's a player with the ability of Curtis Jones who turns things around for England. For me, it was a massive shock that he didn't play, didn't start in either of the 2 games of the tournament so far. He's a boy who has massive amounts of quality and self-belief, and we saw that here. It's a great move. Brewster's willing to run down the sides of the centre-halves. He lashes the ball across the face of the box. It's a good layback by Dwight McNeil, and a first-time finish from Curtis Jones. The ball is bouncing slightly, but he meets it true with the laces of that right foot. Nothing Kataric can do in the goal, but Katarski, sorry, in the goal for Croatia. Nothing he can do about it.
Curtis Jones hit the stuffing out of that into the side netting. And you mentioned the layoff from McNeil. Very calm, seeing that space open up. And England, again, have the chance to be one of those rare teams to go through with a 1-2 record from a 4-team group.
Yeah, we talked about would Croatia drop deep as the game progresses. Now, how are England going to deal with this? For me, they need to stay on the front foot. The defence has looked incredibly porous throughout this tournament. You've got 3 new faces in the back line. Tanganga as well has moved from right back to right centre half. I think they need to play on the front foot and keep possession as much as possible, England.
We'll get more changes with Bistrovic coming off. And here is Lovro Majer, one of Croatia's hopes for the future, 23-year-old playing for Dinamo Zagreb. Left the opener in the second half due to injury. He has made his debut for Croatia, but that was 4 years ago. He's had injuries since, did his ACL. And here are the current standings. England would go through. You see the teams not sorted by overall goal differential, but by head-to-head goal difference. That would be England +1, Switzerland even, and Croatia -1 in the games between the 3 of them. Again, it's the margin that matters, so if Croatia gets 1 goal, that would be enough to send them through. Blood drawn from Curtis Jones, the goal scorer.
Well, that's certainly not going to be good enough, is it, from the physio? He needs the blood cleaned off his face. He'll need a new shirt because there's blood on his shirt. I think there's going
Look at you analyzing the team staff performance. We can't get the analyst, can't turn the analyst off from you. We'd like to remind you all 51 matches from Euro 2020 will be live on the ESPN family of networks from June 11th to July 11th, 2021. Every match available in the ESPN app and throughout the ESPN family of networks. Looking forward to Euro 2020/21 coming up this year, and hoping it will still be played across Europe as planned. Well, not quite as planned, but you know what I mean. Nothing is as planned for this 2-year stretch of time. England will return it to Croatia. Nope, they'll just play it forward. All right. Here we go. It does return to Croatia.
Yeah, it certainly looked as though Oliver Skipp was asking the referee what he needed to do, wasn't he? Probably a little bit of miscommunication, but yeah, I'm with you. I thought they should return the ball to Croatia.
Well, he looked like he was, but then his own player went up for the challenge, right? He didn't hit that forward with a whole lot of venom. If you were going to pick up the ball there, you would have probably played something square to keep possession. 2-0 England leads. That's the score they need to get through to the quarterfinals, which will be played in late May and early June. Quarters May 31st, semis June 3rd, final June 6th. Can Croatia find a response? Ivanušić trying to find Bradarić, out for a Croatian corner. The Mladi Vatreni, the little fiery ones, trying to find their firepower off the bench with Lovro Majer set to deliver the corner. Second Croatian corner. There were 2 there. Franjic got his head to it, but didn't put it on target.
Yeah, it's tough from that far out to get a real decent header on target to trouble Ramsdale, the England goalkeeper. Decent delivery from Majer. I know we've only got just over 10 minutes left, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Majer can do. A truly 2-footed player, wonderfully gifted individual.
Expecting we'll see Sandro Kulenovic, who began the tournament as their number 9. And maybe one more attacking option. Croatia has 1 opportunity left and 2 subs. Here's Meyer. Outside of the foot pass. Terrific finding even Nushitz, but ran out of space. Terrific in its idea and ultimately not in the execution.
Yeah, but you can see he has that guile. He has that ability to pick a pass just with the outside of his foot. Look, he's only just come on the field of play. No wonder he's probably not quite up to speed. Just overhits that pass by a yard. But an individual of true talent. Meyer, another player who's moved across Zagreb, going from Lokomotiva Zagreb to Dinamo Zagreb.
He assisted on the opening goal when Dinamo came from behind to beat Tottenham in the Europa League. That 3-0 second leg in Zagreb. Franic, who almost connected with that corner, was another one, and he's right there, 16 in your picture. Another one who played a key role in that series. Ryan Brewster getting attention for England. Played his part in setting up Curtis Jones's goal in the 74th minute. That has England on the verge of going through to the quarterfinals. Despite an otherwise forgettable 2, maybe 2.5 games of the tournament.
If they can cobble through a pathway into the knockout stages, Adi Boothroyd will have probably got away with one, that's for certain. He's been castigated by a lot of the press back in England and by ex-England under-21 players and national team players.
Will it really lighten the criticism that much?
I don't think it will lighten the criticism, but he at least he can look and say, we've qualified. All you need to do from the group stages is qualify, isn't it? Granted, the performances certainly haven't been there, but all group stages are about is qualifying. And if they do it, he's got away with one, as I say, because he's changed the teams numerous times. I think it was 4 changes from first game to second, and then 7 changes in this game from second to third. But we've still got probably nearly 10 minutes of play to go.
And amazingly, Matt, if they get through, who do they play? Spain or Italy? Have fun. I guess if they go through second, obviously, so they would get Spain. Italy and Portugal would be the other matchup in that side of the bracket. Looks like Netherlands, France, and Denmark, Germany in the part of the bracket that comes from groups A and C. Maybe 10 minutes for Croatia to find a goal and find a spot in the quarterfinals. Ivanušić. Vušković, indecisive, goes backward to Dominik Kotarski.
You can just see there in the bottom of our picture just previously that Curtis Jones is begging the defence to move higher up the pitch. There's too much of a gap at the moment between the defence and Ryan Brewster in attack. The game can't be so stretched from England's point of view. Croatia will be quite happy with that. The gaps in between the lines from forwards and the midfield and the defence of England. Much easier opportunity to break England down. Now they've got the quality of this man Meyer on the pitch as well.
Found Moro. Now the right back, Šverko, back to Nikola Moro. Ivanušić, first time dealt with by Tanganga. Curtis Jones bravely already took a boot to the face and puts his head in there to win a free kick.
Yeah, the foot was high from Franic. Curtis Jones has already got the one piece of cotton wool stuck up his nose. He's almost asking for another one there. But England will be happy with that, with the free kick. Happy with the game being slightly disjointed and time running out for Croatia.
Tanganga patient, shall we say, and yeah,
yes,
that's probably deserved.
Fully deserved. He almost doesn't know what to do with the ball. I don't think he's trying to time waste, he just genuinely doesn't know where to kick the ball.
That seems like a problem. We're going to get Mario Divkovic and Petar Musa, who is a big fella at 6'3". This is throw as many forwards on as we can.
Yeah, and they have to, don't they, Croatia? I think they've almost reverted to a back three. And they're trying to get bodies forwards, and of course they would. 5 minutes remaining, and that's another high foot. This time from Musa. Just come onto the field of play. Nearly took Wilmot's head off.
Musa, I love this. He was the joint top scorer in the Czech Republic last year, 2019-20, while playing for two different teams. He scored 7 goals with Slovan Liberec, and then his loan ended. He went back to Sparta Prague and scored another 7. Or Slavia, I should say. Ivanušić still running strong. Didn't have the overlap he thought was there. Musa was trying to come inside of him.
Yeah, he thought Musa was on the overlap, didn't he? Just had his head down, Ivanušić.
Oh, that's late. That's late right on the near sideline. Cantwell. And it'll be a yellow card to Japer just into the game. Oof.
It's a dreadful challenge from Japer. He's absolutely nowhere near the ball. Cantwell certainly felt that one. Didn't quite see it coming, I don't think.
England may be 5 minutes away from scraping through on head-to-head goal differential in the last game of the group stage. Man still down for England. England want Croatia to stop. Croatia have no intention of doing so.
No, and rightly so. No way Croatia need to stop. I think Eze's okay. He was the man down.
Again, Ivanušić and Meyer can't get on the same page, and that just runs out for a goal kick.
There is Eze. I think he's going to be okay. It was a little coming together. Took a little bit of a forearm and an elbow into the face from Vuskovic. I think he'll be okay.
5-4-1. Got it? Right. You put it the other way.
Well, do you all have that?
I've got it, Jonathan.
England's going to a 5-4-1 as Steven Sessegnon gets set to come on.
You make my job difficult. Get lined in as the third centre back.
He's nothing if not predictable, AD Boothroyd. He's going to do anything to try and protect this lead, and probably rightly so. I never like the back line being changed during a game, certainly when you're winning. It's now going to Tanganga, right centre half, Wilmot central centre half, and Lloyd Kelly, as we heard, left centre half. Sessegnon at left wing back, Aarons at right wing back, and they won't really be wing backs. They'll be almost orthodox full backs playing in a back five.
Here's Meyer for Croatia in the 90th minute. Harried and fouled by Cantwell.
Yeah, probably a sensible free kick for Campo to give away. That's going to be a yellow card. It looks like it's to Skip for kicking the ball away. There's been a number of stoppages. You figure there's going to be a good at least 4 minutes of additional time, Jonathan, in this game.
Five is the number as the cross comes in, headed away by Lloyd Kelly at the back. Eze pressuring the young Vučković. Adi Boothroyd said this job, not just getting through, but this job utterly impossible, and it kind of felt that way for England coming into the game. And here they are with a 2-0 lead, trying to hold on. Meyer square. That's driven into the top corner. Sensational. Domagoj Brodaric sends Croatia to the quarterfinals with a rocket.
A truly sensational strike, Jonathan, from Brodaric. But if you give a player of ability, obviously a national team player, time and space to strike the ball unopposed from 20, 22 yards out, there's nothing more than you deserve. England are dropping deeper and deeper. Nobody tries to close him down. They don't get anywhere near him. There's a couple of lunging bodies at the end, but look, this is a shot from 22 yards out. No surprise that he rifles it into the back of the net. It's a top draw finish from Brodaric.
Brodaric, 4 caps for the senior national team, the most experienced Croatian player. He's been almost totally anonymous in this tournament. From left back, you've kind of been like, what's the big deal? And he picks the 91st minute when they need a goal to hit that thunderbolt.
Welcome to the tournament. What a fantastic strike as well. You won't see a ball struck much truer than that.
Well, the 5-4-1 didn't work. So what does England have to get a 2-goal margin back?
Well,
how many twists and turns can we have? No foul called. Rhian Brewster wanted it. Morrow rather, right in his face. It's just a goal kick. But we're going to get some admonishment first.
Yeah, there's no need from either of the player there.
Nicola Morrow is not having any of it.
No, there's no need for him to get in the face of Brewster. There's almost no need either for Brewster, though, to go back at him. Brewster was the one who simulated the contact. There was none there. Morrow's probably the one who can point at the scoreboard, though, and say, we're going through.
We could get to, what, 7 minutes of stoppage time? If you figure out everything that's been added on here, and maybe more to come. There is time for England. Eze won the free kick. He'll have to move it back, you would think.
The referee's just going to have to be careful here as well that the game doesn't get out of hand. Desperation stakes for both teams. I said at the time that I don't like changing defensive lineups when there's just a few minutes left of the game. Adi Boothroyd did it and got hit with a sucker punch.
Kotarski came for it. What's the decision?
Well,
goal kick. Yeah, I mean, it's easy to point fingers, but what was the change? They took out a defensive midfielder. They had 3 center mids, then they played 5-4-1 with 2 center mids. Where was the space? Central midfield.
Well, there certainly should
It looked like it came off the goalkeeper's fist.
It did. It couldn't be more clear.
It's been a rough one. It's been a rough one for Harm Osmers, the referee.
It has. It has. And look, let's be honest. The opening goal for England came from the penalty spot that shouldn't have been a penalty. Adi Boothroyd can tap his watch as much as he wants. England don't deserve to go through after their opening 2 performances, and it's only been a performance here in fits and starts that is worthy of those players wearing the England shirts. Igor Bišćan, on the other hand, they will be absolutely ecstatic with the way things are going.
Well, you can see numbers as well as I can. The call was 5 minutes of stoppage time. We're 6 minutes in, and we've maybe played 90 seconds of it. So your guess is as good as mine. How much will be added? Some more right now, hopefully. As Osmers got hit, it resulted in a change of possession. It'll go back to England on the drop.
Poor old Osmers. He's been at the heart of everything, hasn't he, Jonathan? And not in the right way most of the time.
Ramsdale forward.
It's a great header.
Meyer just blasts it the other way. Probably offside, yeah? Musa surely only had the goalkeeper behind him. Instead, it'll be an England throw. 7th minute of stoppage time. Couldn't tell you how many there will be at this point. Brewster got a step here in the corner. Croatia doing really well at keeping numbers around the ball. Aarons. Not a high percentage look from Tanganga up into the netting, and Croatia think they're almost there.
He's never struck one of those on target, even in training, Tanganga. Fully 30, 35 yards out, an absolute waste. And that, for me, is just about that. Croatia have what they absolutely deserve.
A game and a day full of twists and turns, and Domagoj Bradarić provided the final laser to send Croatia through to the quarterfinals of the European Under-21 Championships for the first time. If you don't think reaching the World Cup final makes you a European power, this will continue that thread. And of course, some ugly frustration boiling over on the England side as well. I think we could all use a little break, just the way Curtis Jones could right now. England win the game, but are eliminated. We'll come back to wrap this one up next. Croatia have entered 14 European Under-21 championships. They've only reached this stage 4 times, and for the first time they are reaching the knockout round. They lose 2-1, but they advance by that narrow 1 goal in stoppage time, finishing 2nd in the group to advance, Matt.
We knew it was going to be close, that's for sure, at the beginning of the day, but Croatia did everything they needed to do.
On to the quarterfinals. That'll be May 31st, and Croatia will get Spain in Maribor, and then Portugal and Italy on that side of the bracket. Heavyweights throughout: Netherlands, France, Denmark, Germany up on the top half of the bracket. Every game available somewhere on the ESPN family of networks. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us at the European Under-21 Championships. For my partner, Matt Lawrence, I'm Jonathan Yardley. Thanks for watching.